Honestly, I don't even know what kind of podcast is this. Is this all right that we're talking about my period?
Filter. You can say anything you want.
Too bad. I probably would have talked about it anyway. I love talking about periods.
Aisha Dee, welcome to No Filter.
Oh, thanks, love. It's nice to be here.
I don't know if you noticed as you walked in the office, all of the staff peeping up over their desks like little meerkats to get a glimpse of you. Did you feel that energy when you came in? It completely shifted in the office. They're so excited to see you.
Oh.
I think it's
I hope you're not disappointed.
Well, we'll see by the end of the interview. I think it's seeing someone that you grew up watching on screen. And I think a lot of your past projects are those kind of shows that people watch with their friends after school or watch with their girlfriends after work. So just be warning when you stepped out of the room.
Oh, no,
there's a lot of people waiting for you.
I sang the Saddle Club theme song with someone yesterday during the junket, and I don't think I've sang that since I was
oh my God.
13. But it really brought back some memories, so I get it.
Okay, well, memories is a good spot to be because that's where we're sort of going to start from today. Okay. So you grew up on the Gold Coast in the 90s, is that right? Yeah. And did you always dream of becoming an actress? Yes, but I think it was quite delusional, if I'm really honest. But isn't any kid who dreaming of that? Like, there's a bit of delusion there because it is such a grand dream.
Yeah, I think for a while, you know, when you're in school, they say, what's your favorite color? What do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be an actress. And then people definitely let me know that was a really stupid thing to say. So I was like, okay, I want to be a spy.
Right. A much more solid career path, I would say.
Yeah. Imagine I'm doing both now.
I would actually love that for you.
I would too.
That's just your side project. I mean, would you say if it was? That's the whole thing, right?
You'll never know.
You'll have to throw us off. Yeah. So a lot of kids, as I said, we all dream of being an actress when we're young, but most of us don't take the step to actually make that happen. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard the story of you picking up a phone book when you were a kid and looking for an agent's number. Is that real?
Yeah. I used to kind of just any resource I had. So like what I had was the Yellow Pages and the newspaper and the library. So I used to like just look for any kind of keywords that jumped out at me in the newspaper or like, you know, little posted notes. And in the library, I would just like go on the little catalog computer and try to find any books that I could on acting. It's all like pretty cringe, but I don't know. It made sense to me in the moment, and I'm lucky that my mum, even though she kind of fought me on it a little bit in the beginning, she very quickly I think realized that I wasn't that I was very stubborn, and so she decided
that you were going to go ahead and do it. So it was best for her to sort of support you in that dream.
Yeah, I mean now I think about it. I'm 32. I just turned 32, and I would have if I was my mum, I would have a 10-year-old. And I think about myself at 10 on my mum's one day off because she was probably working like 3 jobs at the time and saying like, hey, on your one day off, do you mind driving me 40 minutes in our shitty Renault car that the doors open when we're at a stoplight? Can we go 40 minutes away so you can take me to some random open call or whatever? And I'm blessed that she did it because she, I think, understood. Because she's also a creative, even though in a very different field.
You know? Oh, right. What field is she in?
My mum's an opera singer.
Oh, wow. That's so impressive.
So I think she was also kind of ridiculed.
It sounds like she knows what it's like to chase a dream that's hinged more in being creative than not fame. Because what I'm picking up from you is that you weren't dreaming of being famous. You were dreaming of working on TV shows and movies and more of the creative side. Yeah. What was it about that as a kid of like looking at TV shows and movies, and were you the kind of kid who like imagined yourself in them instead of taking like that joy of just watching them?
I think they were like a really like intense and beautiful escape for me as a kid. Specifically the movies that were and the TV shows and the things that were available again at the library, which is where I spent like a lot of time as a kid. It was where I was kind of exposed to a lot of culture that I wasn't really able to access through Australian television, especially at the time. You know, I mean, I think even still it's like quite hard to come by things that feel like for the culture. And at the library there were Josephine Baker movies and I used to hire Porgy and Bess.
Oh, yes.
All the time. I used to I'd bring it home and watch it and then like take it back to the library and kind of wait for the librarians to put it out again. And then
so you could take it home again.
Like all the old movies like that. And I think they had like Essence mags and cool kind of ways to connect to a part of myself that I didn't really have easy access to. And so I think because I saw more of myself in those things, it just made sense to me in my kid brain that was where I would go.
That was a place where you would feel welcome in a world maybe on the Gold Coast that didn't feel like that at the time growing up.
Yeah, it just seemed like fun. I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And then how do you go then again from opening the Yellow Pages and going online to finding an agent and getting a role on The Saddle Club, which was such a huge TV show at the time?
Well, I think the first job I actually got was there was like a production of Annie.
Oh, right.
And I'm pretty sure from memory they like came to my school and kind of said like, we're doing an open call for Annie. And I was like, Mom, please take
This is my moment.
Please. And she was like, okay. I think probably she had to take off work.
Aww.
I think she was working at Muffin Break at the time. But she took me and I auditioned and there was like hundreds of kids and I got the role of Molly. And my mum said that I couldn't do it because she didn't know how I was going to get to rehearsals.
Yeah,
like, there was
so fair.
No way for us to do it. And I think she saw and realized how devastated I was that she didn't let me do that. And she promised me that she would let me do the next thing.
Okay.
And the next thing just happened to be The Saddle Club. And I mean, it was many years later, but yeah, it was another thing where I think the call was so huge. Like Australia-wide, they were rebooting The Saddle Club, which is huge. Like I was a fan.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how I got that job because I really I didn't know what I was doing at all.
And so you went in, it was like a long audition process and you went and read for the character and that you and the rest of the cast just clicked, I'm assuming.
I think so. I mean, I think I was just pretty like delusional and precocious and I mean, I remember I didn't know if I was supposed to, like any script, you have the character names, the lines that the characters read, and then you have like the stage direction. And I wasn't sure if I should read the stage direction.
Oh, if you just work that into the character as you're performing in the audition.
Yeah, I was like, do I say it? Yeah. And I remember asking that and the casting director being like, no.
No, please don't do that.
But they were so sweet and like really encouraging. And I think, I don't know why or how, but I'm really grateful. Because even those, the people from that show, like Marnie is still, that's my girl. That's like my sister.
Yeah, you're still really close, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really lovely. Yeah. And so you had to move from the Gold Coast to Melbourne to film that show, right? And
no, I was actually, we had just moved from the Gold Coast down to the western suburbs of Melbourne.
Oh, right.
And I think I had done like a year and a half of high school. And so I moved from Melbourne to Daylesford where we filmed.
I haven't been to Daylesford, but I hear it's a beautiful corner of the world. I do know what the Gold Coast is like. And I feel like those two places feel like they should be in different countries. Yeah. What was it like going from, I guess, the bright lights of the Gold Coast with Surfers Paradise to this beautiful Daylesford location that's known for its shops and its beauty and how calm it is?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it was a pretty big shift. In some ways they're kind of similar. They have that kind of like touristy vibe to them. But I think the thing that was most special about going to Daylesford, now from memory, actually I think it was the first time that I was really exposed to like a lot of queer community because because Daylesford has a huge like LGBTQ community there, and it was actually a really kind of a special moment for me to be immersed in that as a kid.
Yeah, and just to be, I guess, so removed from a place that you've grown up where you're saying that you didn't feel completely accepted or for different reasons, and having your first job be in a place that opened those different ideas, I guess, of how people are in Australia would have been a really beautiful experience. It
was also really cold.
And did you actually love that? Because I'm from Queensland, not as fancy as the Gold Coast. I'm from Townsville. And whenever I feel cold weather, I feel like I'm on holiday. It feels so exotic. Did you have that?
I cannot relate. I just need you to know I hope to never, ever find myself feeling that kind of cold again. I'm a little bitch. I don't belong with I shouldn't be in cold climates.
They won't see you back there again.
No, I'll go, but I'll be in 17 layers. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. And after sort of dreaming of this and your mum saying like, not this role, but I'll let you do this, when you were on the set for that first day and you were a professional actress, what was that like? Did the dream live up to what you had imagined all those years, the reality of being on that set?
It was terrible.
I mean, I'm sure you weren't, but.
No, I'm not.
It's like everyone should be a little terrible at their first job. That's the rule.
I really, I was so nervous and like something so simple, like just, they put tape on the ground where you're supposed to stand. And even just the idea of like walking into the scene and standing on the tape and saying like maybe one line, I think was my first scene. And I was like, it was so difficult for me to land my feet where they needed to land, speak the words that I had to speak, remember how to walk, like my arms and legs suddenly like didn't make sense anymore. It was, I remember it being a really kind of nerve-wracking experience. Yeah. But I loved it. I probably fell in love with like the community before the acting part, I think.
Right. You mean like being on a set with like all those people and like being in each other's lives and everything. Yeah, that's a really beautiful takeaway, I think, from being on a show like that. And nice for fans to know like the reality they were pitching on the show was what you had behind the scenes is really lovely.
I think it's the beautiful thing about the film industry. Generally, it's like I don't play sports. I don't know if you can tell.
No one needs to play sports. We're fine.
Well, I don't even know what a sport is, same. Really. I think there's points.
I didn't know football existed until Taylor Swift started dating a footballer, so there we are.
Totally, yeah. We don't need to know anything else about it. But being on set kind of is like the closest thing that I've ever experienced to kind of playing a team sport because you're just a cog in a wheel. And I actually love being a part of executing a vision that is so much bigger than me and everyone has a job to do. It feels like almost like playing in a band. It feels like jazz, There's like the boom operator and there's the director and there's the actors and there's the makeup artists and everyone has like something really unique to bring to the table. And everyone finds the industry in such a bizarre way, like everyone comes from different worlds, but we're all kind of uniting together to kind of create something. And I think the thing that I love about it is the fact that it's this kind of fast community that you create with like a common goal.
Oh, wow. I love hearing those stories of what it's like behind the scenes like that. Yeah. And so you found this love for both acting and the community around it. And then at 17, if I'm right, you leave Australia and go over to the United States to start acting. Talk me through what was the catalyst for that, because I know a lot of Australian actors do that, but it always seems so daunting. And also you were such a recognisable face in Australian TV at that time. What was the driving force to push you to go and get jobs overseas?
I think there just wasn't much in the way of opportunity for me here at the time. It's crazy to think how long ago that was. I think about how much my back and knees hurt and I'm like, oh, that's right, I am kind of old. But yeah, there wasn't much for me here. And I had been so blessed to work as much as I did here, but I was still pretty delusional and I was like, well, why don't I just go over there and see what it's like? I didn't go over with a huge amount of expectation. I think I was supposed to be there for like 2 weeks and then ended up staying because I was like testing for different shows and movies and stuff and ended up staying for a couple of months and then I got a show that filmed there, so it ended up just like moving a couple months later.
Was there, when you were at that moment when you were about to leave Australia, was there anyone in sort of like agents or casting directors or anything like that was sort of saying that there weren't roles here, or was it just something that you saw from like lived experience going to auditions and seeing?
I think it was a bit of both. I think it was like I was noticing that friends of mine who kind of fit the like, however problematic it is, like the Australian mold, I saw that they were having a different experience to me. And it was also explicitly kind of said to me, people being like, well, I don't know, I can't really help you.
Wow.
Because that's what the landscape was at the time. But I do think that, I mean, clearly Australia's like come a really long way. Yeah. And I think it's really beautiful. I'm glad that I had the experience of being able to go away to find a different part of myself and to cultivate that and to be able to bring it home and now to be so, I don't know, I feel like I'm in a different like a more settled and calmer place, especially now that I'm in my 30s.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Being in your 30s like quite great. I feel
It's
like
lovely.
all of a sudden I just feel calmer and things seem easier and not easier in a way, but you just like you process things in a much better way.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Yeah. Like you get kind of presented with the same lessons over and over, I think, in life, and you just choose to maybe approach them differently. But yeah, I went, and I'm so blessed that when I think about it, I'm like, wow, I really was blessed with kind of like an easy transition into being there. And I've always been really blessed to work and to, pay my bills and get to do what I love.
I mean, that's the end goal, isn't it? You've got to do what you love, but you've got to pay your bills at the end of the day.
We love to pay bills.
We love that. It just
especially
makes
in this
everything,
economy.
Everything so
Jesus
much
Christ.
easier. When you were in that audition circuit, were there big movies or TV shows that you were sort of in the running for that went on to be like, quite big? Like, were you the kind of actress who was going to a movie theater and thinking like, oh, I was so close to that role? What was that experience like?
I guess it ebbs and it flows. And, this industry and like this life, there's like a lot of comparison. And it's hard to stay out of that frame of mind. But I think genuinely at this point, like I feel so incredibly blessed in my life to like have a body and beautiful friends and community around me. And anything that I've ever not gotten, I've always kind of been like, oh yeah, I don't think that wasn't
the role. Yeah.
No. And I think that, acting specifically is such a subjective art form. Like who's to say what's good and what's not? Like exactly. Why is someone good? We kind of don't really know.
Yes.
And so I just feel like, well, I can only ever bring what I bring. And what someone else is going to bring is going to be totally unique and different. And so if I'm not the one for that job, then it means I wasn't the person to fill that puzzle piece. And again, it's like you're a cog in a wheel. It's about a vision that's so much bigger than me. So I try to just remember that like what's meant for me will find me. My blessings are my blessings and rejection is God's protection. So like.
Yeah, exactly. And I also think that you did get the right role when you got the job on The Bold Type, which is what I want to talk to you about next, because I do think that's why you were being stalked through our office because that show just became such a worldwide hit. Tell me about the audition process for that and reading those scripts and what was it about the character of Kat that you just, I'm assuming you had some really strong affinity with her straight away.
Yeah. I mean, well, yes, and also no. I had done I think maybe 2 other shows for that same network. It ended up being called Freeform, but before that it was called ABC Family, and I had done another show for them. So I kind of knew the executives there and had like they felt like homies to me. I was like, hi, you're doing this new show.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I'll come in and audition for it. But I felt, honestly, when I read it, I remember Kat being described as being like confident and like she's queer and she's cool. And I was like, I didn't feel super confident.
Right.
Any confidence that I was kind of performing at that point very much felt like a performance. And I was still very much in the closet. So I was like, I don't know if I have the confidence to play this queer character who's very confident. I'm like, how am I going to do that? But I went in for the audition not thinking I would get it. And then I did get it. And it was a pretty kind of scary thing to walk into as someone who was, kind of like performing the thing that I one day hoped to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
That side of Kat that where she is in a way like so bold and outspoken on that, but you also see her come to the realization of who she is and her sexuality through her friends. Do you think a part of playing Kat helped you in that way? Did you take any kind of like, I guess, strength or ideas from her? I know she's a fictional character, but I'm sure like, I'm just thinking that I know people who have watched that show who have had that reaction to that character.
Completely. I think being like, for lack of a better, like being forced to pretend to be this person that I admired, honestly, it did instill in me, I think, a certain confidence and a fearlessness that I think I genuinely carry with me now. So for sure. I mean, she inspired me. And I remember like kind of early on in the seasons, people would come to me in like the streets and they would say, oh, Kat inspired me to tell this girl that I love her or to come out to my parents or, you know, whatever it might have been. And I was always so inspired and I would always have to kind of like check myself and not get too emotional because I was like, wow, it inspired you to do that. But like, I haven't been brave enough to come out to my mom yet. Like, what? I wonder if I'll ever feel brave enough. And for that reason, I don't know. I mean, and I know she's fictional, but I'm a bit woo-woo. So I like to believe she exists on some plane.
Oh, I think that too, just so you know.
Yeah, like they exist.
Like those women are very real to me in my world.
Yeah. So I, you know, I like to think she exists somewhere and I think I'm very grateful to her for what she's instilled in me and also in other people. Like I'm endlessly inspired by the people who were inspired by the show. Yeah.
Yeah. And that story we were saying about like coming out to your friends and family and your mother and if you feel comfortable sharing, how did that conversation go now that you sort of look back on it with, you know, older eyes and you're on the other side of it? I sometimes think that like those moments in life are always a bit easy to process when you look back on them after a while and you can sort of sit with how you feel in that moment.
Oh, for sure. I mean, at the time it was quite difficult. And I do think it's funny. I thought like, I'll just come out and it'll be done. And it was like this slow, constant coming out again and again and again with different people and in different ways. And sometimes it went well and sometimes I didn't have a great time. And, you know, I never did the like press release.
Right. Like the Instagram post.
I just never did it because I was like, oh, I don't know if I need to, like maybe I'll just live.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it was at times kind of difficult and I felt a lot of like imposter syndrome at times kind of playing this character who was so at home in her queerness and I wasn't quite there yet. It took me a long time and probably took me until, I don't know, maybe only like 5 years ago, like recent, you know. But I'm grateful for that because it's actually given me a lot of empathy for other people who maybe it takes a minute. I'm jealous of people that were like, I came out at 13. I'm like, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, to know that everyone's story goes in a different way like that.
Yeah.
And was it something about the culture of the bold type too that made you? Maybe I'm projecting here as a fan. If you can't guess, I really love the show.
Yeah, okay.
Is it something? Because I just know how close you and your co-stars Katie and Megan were through the filming of that show, and I got to interview all of you at some point during that show. And it's something that always came through in those interviews, particularly from Katie at one stage where I was finishing up an interview with her once, and she said, "Can I say one more thing?" And I thought, oh, have I missed something she wanted to talk about or anything? And she's like, oh, I have an Australian accent that I torture Aisha with. Can I do it for you? And I was like, yes, please go ahead. And please tell her when you get back to set that you were mocking her on our podcast.
Becca?
And Becca
from Perth.
Oh my God, yeah, she had a character name and everything.
She does.
Yeah, I've met her, just so you know.
Oh, good. Great.
And but yeah, everything about your relationship I thought was really special. Was that, again, you're talking about how you love to build communities. What was it like going to this show that you were feeling a bit uncertain about, and then you're on the set and there's all this pressure to make the show a success? What was it like meeting those two women, and was that bond quite instant?
Yeah, we kind of, I think like the first night we met, we were like, oh yeah,
this is going to work. Yeah.
But you know, we always just kind of, I don't know, and we never felt like it was this pressure from the outside because I think we were just like, we're just making a show that maybe no one will watch. So who cares? I guess we'll just like enjoy the fact that we're paying our bills this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was less about kind of like outside pressure. I think the main objective and goal for us when we were filming was just to make sure that we were being honest with each other and that we would support for each other in that process, because the schedule of a TV show is pretty gnarly, and you kind of,
I hear like 20-hour days, something like that, on set all day, craziness.
Yeah, the rest of your life kind of it falls away, right? So you have to find something in the community of the people that you work with, I think we were really lucky in that way.
Yeah. It must be nice now to see the legacy of that show, because it's become this thing that I think is very hard for a TV show to become, is that it's become a lot of people's comfort watch, where, especially here in Australia, so many women watch it again and again and again and again. And there's this beautiful familiarity to it and the characters and everything. And I think that's a hard space for it to be in. And that's why I don't love when it first came out, there were a few, and they were mostly like older white male critics who were like, oh, this is, you know, it's a girly show. It's a bit silly. And I was like, sorry that it's a show about women not being raped and murdered. Because if it was, you'd be calling it prestige drama.
Totally.
But because it's women at work and it's all these other issues, but because they are, you know, and like their audience is young women and everything that young women like, I feel gets very kind of dismissed. I feel like sometimes that conversation went the other way, but the true fans always knew what it was.
Yeah, I remember a lot of the early reviews were like, we can't believe we like this show.
You're like, okay, sorry.
I understand. Like I think Megan used to say that it's like Sesame Street for adults.
Yeah.
Because there's a lesson of the day.
Yeah. And I loved that.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I think when something has like a formula like that, you can watch it and you can know that there's going to be an ending that's satisfying to you. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I love that the show has been a comfort for people, especially thinking about everything that's happening now. And has happened, especially in the last 5 years. Knowing that the show has existed in that way for people is really quite special.
Yes.
I don't know if I'll ever get to experience that again in my life. I mean, I hope so. But yeah, it's very special.
Yeah. And I want to ask you about a moment in, I think it was 2020, when the show is like very much at its height worldwide. It's found this huge fan base. We're all waiting each week for the new episodes to drop. And at the time you put a very moving statement up on your Instagram where you were highlighting some issues behind the scenes and some issues with the storylines. And I thought it was done in a really beautiful, elegant way, while also highlighting some very real world issues. What was the catalyst for you to put that statement out? And I know you were having those conversations behind the scenes with the team long before it was made public. What was the driving force behind that?
I think, honestly, I didn't do it with like the intention of kind of trying to change anything in the workplace or change anything about the industry. Like, it was actually more of I was trying to reach and give voice to the fans that I knew were feeling the way that I was feeling about it. Because as someone who also, like, I got comfort from the show. Kat was an inspiration to me.
Yes.
And she meant a lot to me. And so I was like, well, if I'm feeling this way, I know that I'm not alone. And so it meant a lot to me to speak to the people who had really advocated for the show. And the reason why the show was a success is because of the people that championed the show. And so it felt important to me to give voice to things that I had a feeling they were feeling in kind of a silo. And I just wanted them to know that they weren't crazy.
Yes.
And that they were seen, at least by me.
Yes.
But yeah, my intention was really always it was a love letter to the fans of the show more than anything else.
Yeah, and it did really come across that way, because it was also highlighting things that some of the fans or people who were just watching the show with their friends at home, they were loving these characters of these women of colour and queer characters finding love, but then we at the time wouldn't have known as an audience, unless we were going back through the credits, that those women weren't represented in the writer's room at the time, and they weren't directing episodes. And that idea of seeing stories on screen is important, but the people behind the scenes need to also be allowed to tell their stories and have that in place. I thought that was really powerful. And the storyline I think you're talking about, the one that the fans were upset about, was when your character starts a relationship with a white Republican woman, and it kind of becomes a bit about her character development and strays away from the Kat that we all knew. And I thought it was very lovely that you were sort of with the fans being like, yeah, I'm uncomfortable. Like, we're all sitting in the same space with this.
Yeah, I mean, I think like at the end of the day, it was like she felt not like herself.
Yeah.
She wasn't the Kat that I knew and loved. And it felt like just a sidestep to something completely foreign. And again, like, as someone who loves her wherever she exists.
Yeah.
Hey girl, whatever
she's
plane
out there
you're
running
on.
her empire. She's probably the editor of 10 magazines by now.
I hope in the alternate universe she actually won that election.
Oh yeah, no, that upset me as well. Yeah,
Kat had a really hard time a few seasons there. She was getting fired left and right, losing elections.
Yeah, she was getting like attacked online, and
Poor
it was
girl.
just she went through the ringer with that.
Yeah.
But when you went to put that statement out, I know maybe you didn't expect it to blow up the way it did and get picked up by all these outlets and everything. But were there people in your life who were sort of telling you not to do it, or they were supportive? Just coming from my parasocial moment as a fan, when I saw that statement, after I thought about like how important it was and how I hope it enacted change. In that moment, I did feel like a little stab of fear for you, because I was thinking, I really love this actress and I just want to keep watching her and things. But I know that every industry, but particularly some parts of this industry, she could maybe not get jobs in the future, or people could take things away from her. And I had that little fear for you that there would be fallout. Were there other people in your life saying that?
Yeah, I was definitely warned about that.
Yeah.
And it's valid. You know?
Yeah.
But I think in the end I was kind of like, well, those people probably wouldn't like me very much anyway.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
At least I'm like being, saying authentically what's on my mind. Yeah, I don't know. That was so long ago. And I think I've thought about that recently and wondered, like, would I do it differently now? How would I approach it now? Who would I have maybe included in the conversation? I do think that I would have approached it differently, but I would never take back doing it. And I'm sure there's people out there who, because of that letter, don't want to work with me, but that's okay.
But I'm also sure there's people out there who really wanted to work with you after that.
Sure, I hope so.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Again, it did feel like a watershed moment. I mean, I know it was a long time ago, but it's always stuck in my head now, watching shows and like thinking to myself, like, but also like who's in the writer's room and who's doing this. And I think it just opened up that conversation for a lot of people.
It's bigger than just the show.
Of course. You're pointing out an industry-wide situation.
It's an industry-wide, worldwide problem,
yeah,
really.
Exactly.
I mean, a lot of industries are kind of really populated, and kind of like the people at the top seem to be the same kind of person.
Yeah.
And I don't, it does feel a little bit like we've taken a step backwards recently.
Yes.
But you know, I still have like hope in my heart, and I still feel optimistic, because I see such incredible work that so many people are doing at the moment. I'm like endlessly inspired and feel like very honored to even just be like, again, a cog in a wheel, a part of a movement that's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the Bold Type comes to an end with a really emotional finale. I won't spoil it for the two people listening who haven't watched, but it's a really beautiful moment. I loved the ending.
I don't think I remember what happened.
Oh my God. Kat became the editor of Scarlet Magazine.
Oh, she
That
did.
was huge.
You know what? You're
That's
right.
why when I said before she's editing all these Look, I'm being defensive of the fictional
I actually forgot about that, and you're right.
Yeah.
Because I remember when we were filming that scene, actually, because it's a scene with Katie and Melora, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I remember we were filming that scene, and you know, this director's like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
We do it a couple times, and I remember her being like, and you're the editor.
Yeah.
That wasn't the line, but like, you're gonna be the magazine girl. And I don't know why that day I was kind of checked out emotionally. I was like, sick.
Sure.
That was like my reaction in the scene, and the director came over and she was like, do you think she'd be a little more emotional? And I was like, nah. And she was like,
you're like, she's fine.
Try
she's
one
been through so much. It's fine.
I was like, oh, I guess this is the finale of the show. I don't know what it says about me that my
and it was a big plot twist, because we all thought it was going to be Jane, but then she goes traveling, and then it's Kat, and who actually had the better business brain. Not to out myself as a fan, so I did think she was the better choice of an editor.
Sure.
Yeah, important.
That means a lot. Kat really did make some missteps, though.
She did, but she had vision.
She was. I feel
like us debating this show that finished so many years ago. It's like, can we get a reboot?
The whole first season, I think I was apologizing about the tweet. Sorry about the tweet.
There was a lot of that as well. So the Bold Type ends, and where is your, sadly for me, even though I've watched it 10 times since then. So and then you're at the stage of are you wanting to jump straight into other big projects? Are you wanting to take a break? Is the phone ringing? Like, what does it look like as an actress when this really cult TV show ends and you're deciding what to do next?
I think at that point I knew that it would take, I needed to take some time, multiple years, and it still has been years. I don't know if I feel ready to like sign on to another long-running TV show. At that point, I really wanted to do more independent film. I wanted to work with like more emerging directors and challenge myself in different ways. And I also knew that I wanted to come home. So those were like kind of the big objectives for me post the show.
Talk to me about coming back to Australia, and because we've been so lucky to have you in all these amazing projects, Sissy and Safe Home and Apple Cider Vinegar and all these amazing projects that you've been working on. Was that a conscious choice that you wanted to be back home in Australia, or was the projects that brought you back?
I think initially it was wanting to be home. Honestly, like the bold type is the reason why I was able to come home.
Yeah.
And honestly, shout out to Stan for putting the bold type on their platform.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we all got to access it. That's when we fell in love with it.
And like I had been doing shows in America before that for like almost a decade, and like no one here watched them. You know, my little baby cousins would be like, how come you don't act anymore? I'd be like,
you say you're acting, but we don't see it.
I am. They just don't make it to Australia, unfortunately. And so I'm incredibly grateful to Stan because, you know, obviously not intentionally, but because they put the bold type on their platform, it kind of reintroduced me to Australia and has enabled me to come home. They've been so supportive over the years. And, you know, initially I think that choice to come home was more about my little sister than anything else.
Right.
She's 17 now.
Oh, she's 17. Wow.
Yes. She's just a baby.
Yeah. No, that is. Look, my little sister just turned 30 and I'm like, you're still a baby. It's fine. Yes. Once they're your little sister, they're always a baby to you.
Yeah. And there's a big age difference between us. So she's very important to me. And I kind of had this moment where I realized as the bold type was coming to an end, I realized that she was just going to grow up and I was going to miss it. And before that, I would usually come because I was so busy. I would come home for a week at Christmas, and then I would have to leave again. And every time I'd come home, she'd be like this much taller, and I was like, I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss all of it, and we won't know each other. And so it was really for her. And then I don't know. I came back and I did Sissy, and I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. I kind of like. Yeah. I like the process of filmmaking in Australia. I like that we have less resources and less money because I think, and that's not always the case, obviously, but I like the creativity that it
I hear that from a lot of Australian actresses who go and work overseas and then come back and do projects here. They say the vibe on set is different. It's smaller, but not in a bad way, more in like people are closer knit. It feels more community based. It's something about Australian sets. It's so interesting. I hear that from so many people.
Yeah, it's like cowboy filmmaking. Like, we got to get the shot. We got 5 setups and 2 minutes to do it. Can we do it? And everyone has to like kind of Bob the Builder their way through it. And I loved it. It was exhausting, but I loved filming that movie. And, every experience since then, I've been kind of chasing that feeling of like, I don't know, just trying to make the best of something. And I truly believe that we have some of the best crews in the world, some of the best technicians and creatives. And it's really because we have to be creative in order to make the great thing. And I also believe that as an industry in Australia, we're kind of coming into our own in this really special way. And then also audiences, like we want to watch Australian stuff now. And growing up, I was like, I don't want to watch Australian stuff like we all did. But now I think it's really changing, right?
No, I think that as well. That's what I see is like there's so many more. When I go to sets visits now, I used to have to fly overseas to different countries and that sort of stuff to see TV shows being made. But now there's so many happening in Australia, both international and the sort of more homegrown ones. And it seems like a lot of the shows that are coming out to the streamers in particular are the shows that people are talking about and buzzing about, and getting those big stars who want to come over and work on those projects just seems huge. It's like working in it from a film journalism perspective. I do feel I've been doing this for like 7 or 8 years now, and I've seen the shift from the interviews I used to do to what I do now of how it's changing.
There's some amazing Australian television and film out there. Like when I was recovering from surgery recently, I just watched all of Justin Cazale's movies back to back. I loved it. And I also watched Thou Shalt Not Steal.
That is so good. Oh my God. I went to the set in the premiere for that and I was just like so blown away by everything about that production and how they filmed it, and the storytelling is so good.
The storytelling elements are incredible. All of the performances are incredible. Cinematography, the music, or like the vision was so deeply inspiring to me. Yeah. And I finished that show. I like wept. I cried when I finished that show. I was like, it's so cool that a show like that exists here.
Yeah,
now.
Exactly. Yeah. No. It's a really, I think, beautiful and exciting time for either working in it like as you are, or me sort of being on the fringes looking into it. It's a really exciting time. And you mentioned there's surgery, which is something I also wanted to talk to you about, because when I look at your resume, your Instagram, what you're doing, you look like the busiest person in the world, you know, filming all these TV shows and movies, and you're flying between Australia and LA, and we're seeing you on red carpets, we're seeing you do all these things. But something I've heard you talk a lot about is your endometriosis and how that has been like quite a crippling thing over the years. When did you first start to, you first start to realize that this was going to be a health issue that would affect your life in such a huge way? Yeah, I mean, I kind of have always had like weird stuff with my uterus and my ovaries, and like it's kind of always, since I was a teenager. I didn't actually get my period until I was 20. Oh, right. And at the time, is that like, because I feel like there's some information, particularly for young girls in high school at that time, there's just not a lot of information around what your body's doing or what you should expect. Like you maybe watch one video in a health class and then it's kind of it. Yeah. So was there anyone sort of telling you like, hey, you should go to the doctor, or were you just like, this is just normal? Honestly, I don't even know what kind of podcast is this. Is this all right that we're talking about my period? You can say anything you want. This is just for the Too the bad. I probably would have talked about it anyway. I love talking about periods. So we have a whole podcast dedicated to this. You're good. Great. I love that. I kind of like always had a little bit of kind of an issue. I lied for a while and said I had my period when I didn't, because I just wanted to fit in. Because when you're a teenage girl, you just want to do things, you want to be like your friends and be like everyone else. And, absolutely. Yeah. But I didn't get it till late. And then when I did, it was kind of like almost immediately I started to get chronic pain. And I had surgery when I was 22, I think. And they had found like a cyst that was quite large and discovered I had PCOS. So I had like a laparotomy, which is open abdominal surgery. And after that surgery, they told me, you have PCOS, that's it. And, you know, there's no cure. There's not really any even treatment for that. But they also told me that I didn't have endo. Right. And I was like, okay, no endo. That's crazy, because it seemed like I had endo symptoms. So then I spent the next 10 years almost with my chronic pain kind of getting worse and worse and worse every year, and kind of coming to the point where really, while I was filming this most recent show, while I was filming Watching You, it took a turn to where it started to almost kind of scare me how much pain I was in. Right. And I was actually really blessed. One of the other girls on the show, Olivia Vasquez, she was a huge support for me. And she was like, I don't know, babe. Sounds like you got endo. And I was like, I had surgery. They told me I didn't. Yeah. They told me I don't have it. So I don't know. I keep getting, different information from doctors. And the pain kind of just didn't let up. And then it got progressively worse. Worse again when I started doing press for apple cider vinegar. It was pretty unbearable. And I like woke up out of my sleep in the middle of the night one night with like a cramp that, I don't know, anyone with endo will understand this. It was like a cramp that kind of started in my stomach and shot up into my heart and then into my hips and down my legs. And I like shot up in bed, couldn't breathe. And then I rolled out of bed and had to crawl to my bathroom and throw up. And I remember I was like laying on the tiles of my bathroom floor and I was like, this can't be normal. Yeah. I think I have to do something about this. Like, this can't be my life. I can't keep living like this. And so I looked up a pelvic floor therapist who was specialized in kind of pain management.
And she pointed me in the direction of an amazing surgeon who has honestly changed my life. Like, I will be forever grateful. And yeah, it was like that night on the floor of my bathroom that I kind of decided that it was time.
It was time to change things, because that's the thing that you hear from so many women with endometriosis or PCOS is that they keep getting told this is normal. It's a normal part of being a woman. You're fine. And they get dismissed for so many different reasons. Like, people get dismissed because of age. They get dismissed because of the color of their skin. They get dismissed for the size of their body, thing like, oh, if you lost weight, it'll go away.
Yeah.
All these sorts of things. Like, it just feels like it's being talked about more now, but by women like you who are sharing these stories. But it just feels like so many women are just being told to, as you were kind of being told, like, it's not a thing, just live with it.
Yeah. And also, I mean, on average, I'm pretty sure I have this statistic correct, but I think on average it takes about 10 years to get a diagnosis for endometriosis. And I mean, what's crazy is that first surgery, they didn't check. They didn't actually check for endo. Yeah. It's not in the surgical report. So I woke up, they said, you don't have endo, but actually it's not. They couldn't have checked with that particular surgery. They were removing a cyst, and I didn't know. I didn't know enough to know.
Well, how do you know that's the thing? Like, it's you trust the medical professionals to give that information. I know a lot of them do now, especially, but it's like women's health is just very underfunded and very underspoken about.
Yes, and also, like, I don't want to shit on those medical professionals who did that surgery. Also, like, they helped me a lot. I needed to get those cysts removed. It just goes to show how far we've come in the 10 years between that surgery and my most recent one. You know, the medical advancements are crazy, and we're still so far behind. We're still so much that we don't know. But yeah, I think community is really important, and it's really important for us to share our stories with each other. Like, I was so blessed on the set of Watching You to have Olivia with me, who was like, we were giving each other advice. I was telling her about the TENS machine that I use, and she was telling me about all the things that she does. We were talking about castor oil packs, and like, I mean, look, it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
Dealing with this thing, but like, honest to God, every day that I wake up and I don't feel like I want to die and I can't walk down the street, I could cry right now, like thinking about it. I'm so grateful. Like, I walk down the street and my like legs work and I have my life back. And surgery is not always the answer for everyone. It was for me, but I think it's important to let people know that it's not normal to be in pain every day.
Yes.
It's actually not normal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you have to be advocating for yourself, as you're saying, calling doctors, calling people, chasing up those answers to get an outcome that will help you. So I think it's really important sharing that. And I'm sure there's so many young women in particular that have followed you from your work and are maybe getting information that they might not have got anywhere else, or seeing that and going and talking to their own doctors. I mean, there's stories that we always hear from people as we sort of put out a lot of content around that, is that you do need to sort of almost know that someone else has done it to go and ask those same questions.
Yeah. Also, like, my scars, I love my scars.
Yeah. Do they symbol, I guess, like a painful time, but they symbol, as you're saying, like this moment now where you have your body back in a way and you can keep on this path? Yeah.
I feel like a little bionic woman.
Yeah.
Like, very strong.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, again, I was so blessed. I had great surgeons, and I have health insurance, which is a blessing. And I had my mom come and look after me.
Oh, she did? That must have been really lovely.
Yeah, she came. She bought me an air fryer.
That's important. It's an important step of recovery, I feel.
You don't have an air fryer? I said, no. She said, I'm going to go get you one today. She came home, most excited I've ever seen her, unpacking this air fryer.
This is a tangible thing I can do to help my daughter in her recovery. I'm going to make her delicious air fried food, which is, as we all know, that's the place to go for cooking. So
she's sweetie.
Oh,
so
that's really lovely.
Yeah.
And so coming to Watching You, your new show, filming that and having been in so much pain from the endometriosis, I'm sure would have been an incredibly difficult thing. On top of the fact that it is like, I've watched the first episode, it is very intense watch and very intense subject matter. Yeah. If you can explain to the listeners, because they haven't had the sneak peek that I have, what the show was about before we get into the craziness of making it.
Yeah, watching you, it's like it's a very intense psychological erotic thriller. I think. Yeah, you got to kind of tread lightly going into it. The first half of the show, it's 6 episodes. I think the first half is more erotic thriller, and then the second half of the show is really thriller. But it has the most beautiful cast of people, and it's on Stan. When is it? October 3rd?
October 3rd, yes.
October 3rd. I know my stuff. Yeah, it's a great show. I'm very proud of it, and I think genuinely there's not been another show that I can think of like it on Aussie TV. So I'm very excited to be back. And
so Lena is your character, and she has a bit of an erotic night with a new person, only to find out later that it is being filmed, and she has to sort of, I guess, deal with the fallout of that in her real life, but also becomes quite a tense sort of situation tracking down the person that is doing this to her. So it's very kind of a high stakes show, and a lot of different thoughts there around this world we live in where everything, because that's the thing, you're watching it and you're like, this is terrifying, but it could easily happen in real life, which makes it all the more terrifying to watch.
Yeah, I think it invites a lot of really interesting conversation around surveillance and coercive control and toxic relationships and what is love really. I think I'm very curious and excited to see the kinds of conversation that it brings up, because it definitely, like, I remember being on set, our crew would they would all get into like arguments with each other over the morality of different characters and whether they think this person's a good person or a bad person, and whether they agree with the choices that they are making. Yes. So yeah, for that reason, I'm most excited to kind of to hear the conversation that it inspires in people.
Yeah, and I guess it does, bring up a lot of different things, Matt, because there's characters in the show. I don't want to give too much away because I feel like you have to just watch it without even knowing what's going to happen, so you appreciate the twists and turns. But it's real life people sometimes acting in a very intense way, but it's because something's been done to them, and then like your character's put in this impossible situation, and you sort of understand why she does the things she does as she goes through the show. So it's a really very interesting watch. So in that moment to go from the Saddle Club, which I have a memory of everyone rushing home from school to watch that show and people having the merchandise and people wanting to ride horses because of that show and it being such a success. To go from that to then go into casting rooms and hear people say, we don't think we have the jobs for you there, or to have other networks not calling, or what happened at the time. Did that feel like a little bit of whiplash for the industry that had brought you in for your first job to then say, at this moment, we don't know if there's a spot for you?
I think I always knew that.
Yeah.
I think I always knew that it was kind of a crazy thing that I even got a TV show to begin with. So I think that if anything was shocking, it was the fact that I was able to do this show. And I'm a Virgo. So when someone tells me no, I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll just find a way. I don't know. The delusional child in me, I think, I don't think I really felt disheartened by that. I really admire the younger version of myself, to be honest, because I don't know if I'm as strong as her, but I try to channel her now.
Yeah, to have that bravery just to jump on a plane and say, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to find a job in a different country.
Yeah, and the bravery to say, when someone told me there was not a place for me, I said, okay, I'll find one.
Yeah.
I don't know. It must have some different bitch said that, not me. Oh, my God.
Was there a tiny part of you when the Bold Type became such a worldwide success? Like, so many people in different countries I know were watching it, and maybe you're a better person than me, but I would have been a little bit like, look at what I did. Look at what you guys missed on, because it's like that. It's like the end of a book or a movie. It's like the heroine of the book gets turned away and then she goes and becomes so successful. A little part of me would have been like, look what I did.
I think I just assume no one watches anything that I do.
I hope you're having that moment now.
Okay. I don't know. I just think I think, oh, crazy, another job?
Another job?
I guess I'm paying my rent again. But I don't, no, I think there's like, my mom watches my shows and some of my friends and like, I don't know. I guess I don't.
You're a much nicer person, I think, is what we're getting from this.
No, I think I just live under a rock. Okay. I like don't check anything. I think I'm just a silly dilly-dallying bitch.
Okay,
really.
We'll go with that then.
That better make it into the podcast.
Yeah.
Don't cut it.
Don't cut that. We would never dare. So you're talking about the younger version of yourself, and I know you say that you don't know that girl, but I still see her in her now, in the choices that you're making and the projects that you're picking. It feels very much like there's something about you that even from a young age of opening the phone book and saying like, I'm going to find an agent, I'm going to get this role, and being very particular about the issues you speak on, the people you want to work with, and the projects that you put your name to. It seems like you're a very decisive person who really goes after what they want.
Oh, thanks.
And that's nice. My takeaway.
Right,
is that how you see yourself going through life?
That's very kind. Yeah, I think so. I think I just I have a hard time standing still. I have a hard time just kind of chilling out. Like I like to be busy. And yeah, I mean, I guess I just am the type of person who needs to stay on the move, and I like to feel scared. Like maybe I'm a little bit of maybe I like the fear of like the thrill of not knowing if something's going to work or taking a risk. Yeah, I think that's the draw of it. I also think that's the draw of why I love the film industry, and I love if we're running behind, and we have 20 minutes to get the impossible shot. Like it's like the most exciting thing in the world to me to know that we have to get this before the sun goes down, or, I have to make this move work, or I have to get a job by this time or I'm not going to eat.
Yeah.
I like those challenges. I like feeling like I'm kind of on the edge of my seat in that way.
What is it about when you're going through scripts and you're getting offered different roles? Is there one thing you look for when you're choosing them? Like, are you looking for what the conversation will be, or are you looking for, I want to do something different to what I've done before? Like, what is that kind of turning point for you?
Definitely I want to try to do something different, but I love strong, messy characters.
Yes.
I like when they do stuff that makes me go like, ooh, I wish he didn't do that.
Yeah.
I like playing characters with kind of that exist in a grey moral area. I think, I don't know, the other thing that kind of pulls me in when I'm thinking about a job is really who I'm working with.
Yes.
Going back to the community thing, I would like to work with people that I think are kind of nice, because like I don't really want to get bullied or like
that's the dream,
or have a bad experience in the workplace, because I love my work. So I just want to feel inspired and hopefully tell a story that feels interesting and new. But yeah, I also want to feel a little bit scared, like maybe I'm a little bit out of my depth.
Right, because this has been billed as your first lead role. Is that right? Or that's the movie done recently? Or I've seen a lot of people talking about like it's a leading role in a different way.
Oh, it's definitely very different to anything I've done. Probably the most, it required a lot of me, just in terms of like the width and like the breadth of the show. It's definitely like not a slow burn. It really, it moves quickly and it takes you on a journey that is like so vast. And I've definitely not done anything that's required quite that much from me before. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, okay. That's really interesting. Yeah. When you hear people talk about this different like way you're going as an actress, it's like we've seen you in like all these different roles, but this is kind of taking it in a different way, which I loved. Kind of seeing like that evolution of someone on screen is always really interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
And talking as we've gone through this interview, like you're so open about sharing so much of your life and your childhood and your medical situation and your friendships. And it does feel like you are such an open book to the world and you stand for a lot of things. As you go through your career and you keep getting these big roles and you keep doing these press tours and talking to people, does that ever take a toll of being the person who always shares and always, because I just can imagine like putting yourself out there, almost like having like raw nerves exposed to the public all the time must be a lot. And is there anything that you're just like, I won't share that part of my life with you?
Oh, there's a lot that I don't share. Yeah. But I think the things that I choose to share, the intention I have is always that like, okay, what was it that made me feel really alone? And so if I can share about growing up on the Gold Coast and feeling kind of isolated there, maybe a little brown girl on the Gold Coast will feel less alone, or wherever that person is.
Yes.
If I can share about my experience of kind of not just, the experience of like playing a queer character on TV and like being this queer like rainbow flag, totally confident girl and like not feeling that way in my life. If I can share about these things, then hopefully it can help people feel less alone. But there's still a lot that I keep pretty private and like, I don't know. I've been blessed to feel really like embraced and safe in like, these kinds of environments. So it's so good.
That's a lovely way to look at it.
Yeah.
And so obviously Watching You is coming out October 3rd. We've all got that marked in our diaries to watch it. And I know you've got another movie, but where do you sort of, when you kind of map out if you're the person who does map out the next 5 or so years of your life or 10 years or think about the characters you want to play, where you want to live, what your legacy will be on screen, what does that look like to you?
I think honestly, I am so deeply grateful to have my body and to not be in pain every day. The thing that's on my mind most at the moment is just enjoying that. I'm going to, after this week of press is done, I'm going to go hang out with my mom and my little sister and my nana and my great nana and my aunties and my cousins. And I'm going to sit there in the dumb dressing gown that my mom's going to make me wear and the stupid socks that I hate, but I'm going to put them on and we're going to sit on the couch, and that's what I want to do. I want to spend the rest of my life hopefully playing make-believe and telling cool stories, and then getting to balance that with community and family.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I love what you say about going home. I think the best thing about growing up and going off to have an adventure is like when you start to appreciate going home is like the true little moments of bliss in like a big exciting life that you're living. So that's really lovely. Well, Aisha, I could talk to you for so long. I don't know how long we've been talking, sorry guys, but it's just been so lovely to talk to you, and I can't wait for everyone to see Watching You and everything else you do in the future.
Oh, thanks, love. It's lovely chat.